So now, having said all of that, you may be wondering, so how do we navigate? You said so much about these policies. How do we make progress? What do we need to do? All these evolving regulations, how do we even navigate? What kind of structures do we need to put in place? I'm sure that's on your mind if you're an organization that is conscious about prioritizing factors along environment, social, and governance. You should be thinking, so what do we need to do? How do we move from here? Okay. Before we get caught up with regulation, what do we need to start doing? So this is the next thing, what we'll be discussing in the next couple of slides, but I've just put them as headlines so that we can, if possible, you can take a screenshot, I'm sure, but you'll get the slides, so probably you don't have to. But this is just a framework. This is what an organization needs to look at. These are the things that, for starters, you need to start to put in place, okay? So first, you have to identify the material ESG issues. Don't worry, I'm going to explain each of these in the next couple of slides, but this is just a snapshot of what every organization should start to think about and start to put policies in place, processes in place to ensure that these things are formally set. So you identify your ESG issues and define your ESG topics. Then you confirm your legal requirements and reporting obligations. So remember, organizations that may be operational in Nigeria, but you have your products in the EU, you have to define, confirm, am I caught up by any policies or regulations in the EU that I need to be complying with? That's the next step. Then you carry out an internal review. This is important. Why I highlighted this is that some organizations are actually doing activities and programs and initiatives that prioritize ESG factors internally, which we have not consciously realized that those are ESG activities, okay? So the next step is you do an internal review. What do you have in place and what do you need to do to cover the gap, okay? So you conduct a gap analysis and then you start to collect data because at the end of the day, reporting is about data. What are you reporting on? You're reporting on your activities along environmental, social, and governance factors. You're reporting on the activities and how much impact. You're reporting on where you are in terms of the goals you have set, okay? So all of this is data, and you have several departments that will be working on data. If you're an organization that works from several locations, you'll be interfacing with your various divisions to ensure that all that data is collated, it is analyzed, and then put in a framework for reporting. Then another thing I would suggest is to identify or set up your ESG dream team, because it's a team that will actually drive these processes. If it is left for maybe someone who is within, although I would give some recommendations, but if it is left, it's ideal to have a team that is dedicated to this, because that is the only way you can actually achieve results. Then you would have to develop an ESG strategy. So the ESG strategy is how do we get from point A to point B? If as an organization, you have decided that you want to prioritize reduction of water usage by 2040, what is the plan? So that ESG strategy, it becomes your roadmap from getting from 2024 to 2040 in reducing water usage. So that ESG strategy is key because that now it makes everybody accountable. We clearly see what the organization needs to be doing to prioritize meeting the goal of water reduction by 2040. Okay, so now let's move on to look at, and then finally, you have to be agile and seek external help. So let's look at the first one, which is